Divinity Original Sin 2 is a sequel to a game that I never played. I was aware of it, and I was aware that it was decent, but I never played it. So when I heard that this game was getting outstanding reviews, 10 out of 10 from GameSpot, 9.6 from IGN, high 90s from almost every other outlet, I knew this was something special, and as a connoisseur of role-playing games, I had to pick this up. I come from a background full of games like Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. I've played through a fair amount of the Witcher series. I've even dabbled with a little bit of the Baldur's Gate back on the older consoles, things like that. But this is the first time in a long time I have played a role-playing game that takes all of those other experiences and makes them look cheap by comparison. So in this video, I give you 5 reasons why Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of the best role-playing games in the past decade. Decade is 10 years, by the way. Number 1, the voice acting.
The corpses of voidlings lie in heaps around you, a miasma of cursed fluid pooling at your feet.
Those filthy beasts were like rats. A swarm most vile, but vanquished as a matter of course.
We can't get caught up in another battle like that. They're only getting worse.
No worse than a death fog nightmare. Ichor and madness, and then it's all over.
When it comes to role-playing games, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the term Uncanny Valley. A word used to describe something is just kinda off. And most of the time, what is perceived as uncanny is usually the facial features of a certain character in role-playing games. Well, I feel it also can be applied to certain voice acting. Take something like Oblivion or even Skyrim, those kinds of games in general can have the odd voice acting that just kind of seems out of place. And while Divinity Original Sin 2 definitely has some of its quirky voice acting here and there, it is largely very good. Very high quality, different accents used all over the place, but still believable given the setting. When you have the ability to talk to animals, that's where I feel the voice actors got to have a little bit more freedom in how they deliver those lines, because, you know, they're animals. Like, if you're talking to a dog, sometimes they'll sound really, really simple, or they won't know a lot of words. Like, there's this other dog that's like, it knows like just very simplistic versions of what maybe a human would say in that very same instance of dialogue. And while it can sound quirky or maybe hovering around that uncanny valley, it is always entertaining. I haven't yet come across a line that was deadpan or that just didn't have any enthusiasm to it, like it was delivered by a voice actor and not from an actual person living in this universe. The exceptional writing for all of these lines, by the way, doesn't hurt either. Reason number 2, the game's various excellent controls and modes.
A shame it becomes docile. Regardless, it's important you know why this must be done. We are of the divine. I would never harm you. My methods will bring you closer to his perfect will. Yes, your source will be gone, but your sacrifice will mean the salvation of hundreds, thousands. You will be cured of something entirely dangerous.
In all my years, I've never really come across a more accessible role-playing game. Not only can you play this game effectively with a mouse and keyboard, but also using a controller. And that's due in part thanks to its turn-based combat nature, among other things. But it plays great on a controller, it plays great with a mouse and keyboard. I even love the fact that you can have local co-op, local split-screen co-op, with 2 controllers. It's great on a computer! Like, that never happens. Or if it does happen, it's on a console role-playing game, or a shooter or something, but on a PC-centric role-playing game, unheard of. Love it. And then you have your online cooperative play. Drop in, drop out. Either you can make a couple of characters together with friends and start through a whole new campaign with your custom characters, or you can be playing your campaign, and then if you want some people to come in and play the characters that you have already, then bam, just literally drop in, drop out. It's that effective. It's that easy. I mean, I wouldn't trust, like, random people to join my game, but I'm just saying. You have a PvP mode where people can choose select characters and then just kind of duel it out with others. I guess it's a good way to practice. That's kind of cool. At least you have that option. And then you have the mother of all modes, the Game Master mode, which is essentially like playing Dungeons and Dragons, like pen and paper style, with your friends, but online, using this game's engine and this game's rule set. And even then, there are ways to modify and bend some of those rules. So through the modding system, you can have things like innately faster running speed so you can get around town and quest a little easier. Or have it so that items don't automatically bound to your hotbar. A lot of mods and things that you can download and add on to the game that just makes things a little easier or a little nicer. The only downside being that they turn off the achievements. I'll tell you what though, it's going to be a cold day in hell before we see a AAA studio make a role-playing game that has this kind of accessibility and these various different ways to play the game. Reason number 3, the combat. Unlike a pretty good majority of role-playing games nowadays, Divinity Original Sin 2, like its predecessor, is turn-based, which, if you're like me, who grew up on games like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and Chrono Trigger and all those other kind of turn-based role-playing games, oh, you'll feel right at home here. But this takes that kind of concept to the next level, to the point where if you have played XCOM, you'll probably feel more comfortable playing something like this, because it's very similar. So here's how it all fits together. Every character in combat, your teammates, you, the enemy, have something called action points. You get about 4 per round, right? Everything you do in combat, from moving to attacking to looting, costs those action points. Skills primarily costing the most. But you're not going to just be moving and attacking either. The environment plays a huge part of what this game has to offer in terms of combat. Both the environment and a lot of your skills can cause these status effects, either directly to a character or in an AoE style of puddle around them, or hell, even an entire room. So say once you have the ability to literally make it rain, there's water everywhere, right? Well, you can do a few things with that water. One, you can electrify it. A simple shock spell into that water electrifies the entire floor, causing damage over time to anybody standing in it, especially moving around in it. If you want, instead, you could freeze it, freeze the entire floor, so you're literally playing on a skating rink. And anybody, including you and your teammates, will not only take damage, but will also slip and fall, causing them to essentially lose a turn. Or you could take it one step further, use fire on it, right? Fire on the water creates a cloud of steam. You can then take that cloud of steam and you can poison it, you can electrify it, and I'm pretty sure you can do other things to it as well. There's a very deep underlying status system here that utilizes all of these things that I just spoke of. And it's something that you want to utilize too in order to overcome some of the tougher fights in this game. I died a lot early on because I didn't really know how to utilize all of these different status systems and AoE puddles, and I didn't know how to turn it against the enemy and they would just use it on me. The combat is deep, it's rewarding, it's fun, and it doesn't take too long to get through most battles. It's not a drag. Reason number 4, the presentation. Larian Studios uses their own in-house engine to deliver a stunning presentation both visually and audioly. No, really, the music, as you just heard, is phenomenal. A lot of the tracks, almost all the tracks that I've heard so far, while they do fit really well into the background and sometimes I forget about them, when I do listen, they're great. They really just help to fit the mood of whatever you're doing very well. I wouldn't say it's quite as iconic as the stuff that Jeremy Soule puts out in terms of music, say for the Elder Scrolls series. That stuff is iconic. This is just one bar below that. Still great though. But it's the rest of it, the visual presentation, that really takes this game and elevates it to the cream of the crop. The world around you as you're running around looks lived in. Detail is impeccable. You can zoom all the way in to really close, and there's a really great depth of field filter when you do that, but it also allows you to see all of those up close items. All of those little trinkets and items that somebody may have in their house. It's very realistic. You really get a good sense that, hey, this is a believable lived-in world. Same goes for scenes that are more natural. Beachheads, forest, grass, blood, water. It's all fairly realistic and immersive. For me personally, it's three things: lighting, shadowing, and just the breadth of color in any given scene. The greens of poison, the reddish orange of fire, the slightly blue tinted ice, and all of that beautiful green. It's not only technically proficient, but from an artistic standpoint, it's excellent too. Reason number 1, world interaction. Divinity Original Sin 2 really excels at allowing you to play the game the way you want to play it. The actions that you choose in the past may affect quests that you receive in the future. For example, I was playing hide and seek with this little boy for whatever reason. I don't know if it was going to lead to something, but he stumbled across somebody that I had killed, and then he decided to run away, and whatever was happening there just stopped. There was this ledge that had a treasure chest on it, and I wanted it. So I thought, hey, I can use my teleport skill to teleport one of my teammates up there to get the treasure. But that didn't work for whatever reason. Until I decided that, oh wait, I can use my teleport skill to teleport the chest to me, and it worked. There was this wounded guy lying on the ground with somebody trying to heal him using medicine and stuff, and it wasn't really working. He pretty much accepted death until I used my healing spell on him. And he was angry about it because he was expecting to die and he wanted to die. I could go into somebody's house, steal anything I want, their bowls, their silverware, their potions, their floor mats, their bed rolls, and then I could pickpocket them on the way out. For a game like this, the world is remarkably interactive, on levels that I haven't seen since my days with Morrowind. And even then, it takes this interactivity to the next level. You really can do whatever you want, how you want, and most of the time, if not all the time, your tactics, if using logic, will work. And when you combine that reason with the previous 4, well, I think it's pretty easy to see why this is one of the best role-playing games in the past decade. I'm only about 20 hours in or so to the story, and I just can't get enough of it. I come home from working and I just play this, and I'm going to try to stream it more and just go through it to completion, and then probably do a second playthrough because there's I think a lot that I missed. I want to try different builds, I want to try different characters, different interactions. I mean, I've already experienced so much, but there's still so much more to experience. And then there's the Game Master mode, and I could probably just lose myself in that mode, especially once people start veering away from the story, once they've gotten their fill of it and they start getting into this whole other thing, this whole other game in and of itself. And if you have Divinity Original Sin 2 for the PC, let me know. Love to do some co-op with you, love to do some of that Game Master mode with you. I definitely want to get on that, get a team together of 3 or more people, myself included. I'll probably be the master because I think that would be really entertaining, especially from a YouTuber's perspective, and I can just upload the video of that whole experience we all have. That would be neat as fuck in my opinion. So let me know what you think about all of that, what you think of the video, down in the comments below. Before you go, if you enjoyed the video, you know what buttons to press in order to make me happy as a YouTuber. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the future. with more content.